everyone. Day 34, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's 6:26.
We got up at 5:45. Engine room checks are done. Everything's done. We're gonna get ready to. The sun is just. It's what we in the Army call BMNT, before morning nautical twilight.
So it's supposed to rise at 6:41.
Yeah. So it's BMNT. Just can start to see everything else without lights, but yeah. Wind's kicking up at 14. Should be a sporty ride through Mobile Bay.
It'll be interesting.
But knock on wood, everything goes good today. And I've asked Heather to film a little bit more today because I thought she was going to film more of the oil change, but she got to talking to our boat neighbor, Jim, and she forgot to film. So I had literally a 4-second clip of oil dripping out at the bottom.
I think it was 19.
Okay, 19, I exaggerate. 19-second clip of oil dripping from the pods.
But,
that was it.
You know, you tell me sometimes that I don't socialize, I don't talk to people, and here I'm talking to people, and then you're like, how come you didn't video anything? Like,
what are you talking about? Don't socialize.
You do say that sometimes. Like, if I don't want to go out, I'm like, I'm fine. Well, you should go out and talk to them.
Oh. I have said that in the past, but not often. All right, well, we'll film more as we get going. We're going to be assholes and elbows this morning trying to figure out how to get lines off. So we will update you more when we get going. Bye.
Well, good morning, everyone. We got in the water about 6:58, I think, is when I looked on my watch. The Rockies in front of us.
4-foot waves.
We got about 4-foot waves. Try to see if any waves come up over the top. Our windshield's already gotten wet. Oh, there you can see some. How you doing?
I'm glad to be underway even if it's rough.
How long do you think it's going to be rough like this all the way across?
Yep.
And how long is that going to be? 2 hours? 3 hours?
Probably 2 hours or more. 2 to 3 maybe. Depends if once we get out, if it lays down a little bit, we can get going a little bit better.
Alright, well, we'll film some more later on. Well, we made it across the bay and we are now entering the channel into the intercoastal waterway. How do you feel about that?
I'm on a work call. I'm boating, watching for debris, and negotiated 5-foot seas. So I can multitask.
I guess he can multitask.
Yeah, so it's probably hard to hear me. It's about 9:30. We had an engine overheat, starboard engine overheated, lost the impeller. At least there was no water flowing through, so pretty sure that's what it is. I do have spares, but we're going under one engine, and I've got the engine hatch open, trying to reduce the temperature of the engine. It's turned off, so temperature's coming down here slowly, and we'll get the impeller changed when we can get to a marina and tie up. So more later, I'll let you know what we find out.
So, I think Bob had videotaped to let you guys know that our starboard engine started overheating, and he was thinking it was the impeller that broke, which we do have an extra impeller, and that would be an easy fix. So we made it down to Saunders Yard Works or Boat Works, I'm not sure. Anyways, we pulled over, docked here, opened up the engine hatch. Bob went down there, looks like the impeller's okay. Did a little more investigating, and it looks like it has something to do with the belt. I asked him, is it broken or did it just come off? And it looks like it just came off. Problem? He doesn't know how to put the belt back on. So he is now walking up to the marina where the guys are to see if there's someone that could come down and help us put that on. It's not one thing, it's another. Yeah, so I have no idea. I'm hoping that we can fix this and continue on and meet up with Jim and Allie and anchor for the night. Or I don't know, or we have to spend the night here. If we do have to spend the night, it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's that. Well, Bob's coming back. I can't tell if we've got good news or bad news. Well, can they help us?
Yeah, I think they can. Oh my God. Shit just never stops. Shit just never stops.
Okay, so you think we can get out of here today?
I think so. I think so. I gotta get my wallet.
Okay.
Well, not great news. We had the belt tensioner break and the belt got shredded. The impeller, I don't think's affected, but for some reason the belt tensioner that goes right there snapped. And so we are at Saunders Marine, and we will see, the mechanic's gonna go to his parts guy and see. I think we're out of luck for today. I mean, it would be a divine intervention if something happened today, but we're gonna end up staying here tonight. We're falling way behind the schedule. Kind of depressing. Never would have guessed. I mean, the guy looked at it, he goes, there's probably just a fault in the bracket. He goes, I can see where it was cracked and it just gave way. So just, it's unbelievable. It's just one thing after another. We got to get to Florida. I'm done. I've had it right now. We got to get to Florida. I got to call back into work. I've been offline for 2 hours, so I don't know what's going to happen. Talk to y'all later. Well, Saunders Boat Works is moving in some big boats. They put all those boats up on the hard for the hurricane. And now they're relaunching a ton of boats. So beautiful boats being installed and put back in the water. There's a 75-foot yacht right in front of us. That's a 60-foot Sea Ray right there, so it tells you the difference. That's 75 or 80 feet at least. That Sea Ray right there is 60 feet. That boat right there
70.
is 70 feet. So, unbelievable size boats. All right, just a little bit of an update. It's about 4 o'clock now. The mechanic did come by about 3. they found all the parts in Mississippi. They're overnighting them, so maybe tomorrow, if we are extremely fortunate, it's tomorrow morning, we'll get the parts here and probably a couple hours worth of labor to get the parts on. But it's $100 and some per hour on labor, so we're gonna have probably a substantial bill here. I think they spent 2 hours, if not a little bit more, with us today. So, and the parts I'm sure aren't gonna, I ordered belts for both sides. Since we're replacing one, just replace both sets of belts to make sure we're good. I have never done that on this boat in the 3 years I've owned it, so let's do it. But yeah, we've got all of it's ready to go for tomorrow. I'll show you kind of what we found out. So in the engine room, not a good spot to be down, but laying on the engine. So we've got the shroud off. This is the port engine, and it looks good. So this bracket right here and this tension pulley, this bracket is what's split on the starboard engine. This whole piece right here just snapped off, and then the pulley lost all of its tensioning, and this belt came off. It runs this water pump that helps cool the engine, and that's what primarily failed and caused the engine to overheat and went into automatic shutdown. So I looked at the engines, the mechanics looked at the engines. I think everything's okay. We didn't run it. As soon as it alarmed, I backed off and we were good. So we'll replace all the belts. We're going to do the port engine as well. We're going to replace all the belts, so that'll be, some time to get these belts on tomorrow and get everything back together. Unbelievable. Just one thing after another. I would have never guessed in a million years that this effing bracket would break. I mean, it's a three-quarter, well, just under a half-inch thick metal bracket. So, but the port side looks good, and yeah. So, climbing back out, the starboard side's got no belt on it. So we're gonna replace both the auxiliary belts. There's two belts on the engine. There's a main drive belt and an auxiliary belt, and so we're gonna replace both of those. Killing my favorite thing, a spider. Fuckers. Hate spiders. So we're gonna replace both belts on both engines and the bracket on the starboard engine, and then we'll do a quick test drive. So best case is tomorrow morning, parts show up and we are ready to go by noon. That's best case. Worst case, parts show up in the afternoon and we're not ready to go by the afternoon. So then the question becomes, the anchorage that we picked for here and where our buddy boat went is about 20 miles downriver. So at 10 miles an hour, which is very easy to do, it's just idle speed essentially, we could be there in 2 hours. So if we are done here anytime after 3:30, we're gonna leave and go to the anchorage. That'll give us 20 more miles to catch up to our buddy boat. The weather window for crossing the Gulf is Monday. So we've got a little bit of time. It was Sunday, and now it's Monday.
Like Monday, Tuesday. I mean, there's like a couple days in there.
Yeah, so they're talking about crossing the Gulf on Monday. We want to link up with them before then, so we can cross the Gulf together, just in case something like this happens. Right. So that you've got a buddy boat with you, and you can tow each other and keep moving. Because people cross the Gulf, as long as it's not rough, people cross the Gulf over 20 hours. I mean, boats that don't go fast will leave at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and they'll boat all night long and get to Tampa at 9 the next morning. So you can cross the Gulf at 8 miles an hour and that's fine. So,
but we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. Our buddy boat can go about 19, 20 miles an hour. And so we should cross the Gulf in about 6 hours, 7 hours. So 1 day of boating. But so that's today. Couldn't have asked for a better place to, if this had to happen, this is probably the place to have it happen. Man.
It all started with, it was wavy and we had waves coming over us.
Big
and
waves.
I went downstairs to make sure everything, like I put a fan on the floor, like so nothing would fall off. And then I'm in the back of the boat doing some stuff, and all of a sudden Bob's like, I just heard something downstairs. So I go downstairs and we have a gallon jug of water. And I look at the counter and I'm like, where did the jug of water just go? And I look on the floor, it's not there, but it actually hit the floor and went down into the aft cabin, opened. Water everywhere. So as Bob's driving and the waves are coming over, we're rocking. Oh my God, trying to clean this up, and I was getting hot. Got it all cleaned up. I came upstairs and I had to sit in the back by the windows. I was not feeling good at all, and I've never been seasick before. So that's how it all started. That's how the morning started.
Waves. It was big waves out in Mobile Bay. They were at least 5 feet. 5-foot waves.
But once we got over the shipping channel, once we moved over, then
it started getting a little bit better. But initially,
this morning,
oh my God, they were huge waves. I mean, just up and down and side to side. I mean,
and then, like I said, these waves would just come crashing
over the top of the boat, and just the boat was just being bathed in salt water, and I had to run the windshield wipers the whole time. I mean, it looked like Deadliest Catch in Alaska, the waves crashing over. It was impressive. I mean, the boat did fine.
Oh, yeah.
The boat handled it fine, other than our broken pulley, but...
And I kept saying, too, do you smell something? I think I smell something. And Bob's like, well, what is it? Like oil? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. And then I go back to where the engine room is. I put my head down there, smell down there, don't smell anything. Come back up to the helm, and I'm like, I smell it up here.
And then the alarm went off.
But I also did say, it smells like burning plastic. Do you remember me saying that? And then the alarm started going off.
The alarm went off, and
like, here we go.
Yep. And then we opened up the top, and it was just, not smoke, but you could see there was I think it was from the serpentine belt, it was just kind of that burnt rubber kind of smell.
That's probably
burnt rubber. And then because the engine got to 245 degrees, and it normally runs at 185, and 245 it shut off, and maybe 255, something like that, or it gave us the warning, and I shut it off. I pulled it back right away, and then I turned it off. The coolant spewed out of the cap, and I had coolant everywhere, so I was cleaning up coolant, and when we got here, and just it's one thing after another. We gotta get to Florida.
We're still in Alabama.
We gotta get to Florida. We gotta get out of Alabama, man. Alabama has not been good to us. So anyway, the intercoastal's kind of cool. We'll try to film that more tomorrow if we get underway. But
I thought it was interesting because the little bit that we saw, I didn't feel like there was a ton of damage.
Tons of damage.
For a hurricane that came through.
But we're not to the worst part yet.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're in Gulf Shores, and we got to get to Orange Beach, which is the next one down, and I think that'll be worse. But yeah, there's trees down, and there's people with tarps on their roofs and stuff like that, but not total devastation that I would have expected. So in this marina, they pulled every boat up on shores, and this marina is pristine. It looks great. So all right, well, that concludes today's video. Not our best day, but could have been worse. Glad we got across the Gulf, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully the parts come in the morning.
Okay, bye.
Bye.